Good morning, everybody. It's Marty, the JavaScript party. My buddy Rhett, and she's very excited because I think she has a new favorite kind of nut, and that is the pistachio nut. She loves these pistachio nuts. So here's a pistachio for her. There you go, girl. And it is December 26th, Friday. It's 64 degrees Fahrenheit outside. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. We've been sort of for like the last 3 weeks, we were kind of hovering around in the 40s Fahrenheit. And so we got acclimated to that. So now 64 just feels like the most comfortable temperature you can imagine. Um, like in July, if it were to drop to 64 around here, then we would be like shivering and freezing. We'd be like, it's so cold. But we are acclimated to colder weather. It's supposed to get much warmer for like the rest of the week, and then it'll get cold again, apparently. So, anyways, so frustrated with myself. So this is what I'm working on. This update mesh service to have strongly typed dictionary, and I had actually realized that these are really the three mesh service, not just the mesh service. And then when I created um, the branch, it didn't catch the three. So like this morning when I was looking, I was like, wait, I thought I was only working on three ones because the ST ones also really do need to get updated, but I'm kind of sick of doing this kind of stuff right now. But let me finish this one up since we have the um the issue and we've created the branch for it and everything. So we are going to go to our three services. We're in our services. We're going to go to our three and then um go in here. So yesterday I was sort of interacting with ChatGPT. I'm trying to build some stuff that's like in Node, and it's like um it's a different domain for me. So I don't just know a lot of stuff. A lot of things I have to sort of learn, and when I'm learning it, it's a really good opportunity to formalize my understanding of my knowledge so that it's a little bit more transferable and a little easier for me to talk about and reason about. And I ran across this phrase of something along the lines of like abstractions need to earn their keep. And that's such a good phrase because like sometimes like it's a little bit of duplicated code, unneeded duplicate code is not nearly as bad as unneeded abstractions. When you have an abstraction that you don't need, it just causes it's just a guaranteed weight on your your understanding, and it's so much more. Everything's just so much more confusing. But anyways, let's see. We are working on this, and I don't want this to be an any. I want it to be a three mesh. And gosh, I felt like well, oh no. So we have normal meshes. Okay, so this is one thing that I remember now that we have to remember this when we go to make our dictionary. So now we're going to go to our dictionaries, and they are in base dictionaries, which is this would be like if I broke this down into, I made this a little bit more abstractions, like so if these were all in a three dictionaries, I think that abstraction would in fact earn its keep because it'd be like, okay, yes, that's right. We have three dictionaries, we have ST dictionaries. And I don't want it to get to the point where it's just like, oh, it's something I just know. Like if you're worried about job security, then it may be worthwhile to sort of break to sort of add these um, add abstractions that only you really understand, and it makes everything much harder for everybody else. But that's a really hard way um, to live. ThreeJS mesh. So what's nice about, and then one of the really nice things about this is it does just naturally convey some information. Like we know that the only geometries that we support are box geometries. You can just see that instantly. But we do know that we're going to want to have sphere geometries, square geometries, circle geometries, all the different geometries. We're going to want them all. interface. And maybe three mesh dictionary. And maybe we'll never get there. Like this this project is moving at a snail's pace. And honestly, I would never work on a professional project as a professional developer unless it was like a pet project. Like sometimes, like when you work at a place, like Google uh, used to always advertise that like if you went and worked there as a software developer, uh, you got to spend 50% of your time working on your own projects. I don't think that worked out for them, but the I don't think that they do that anymore. I don't know if that worked out or not, but I do know that like I had this pet project. I used to work for this um, place called Brightlane, and I had this pet project where I was trying to. It's what they call. Nobody was doing this at the time, or at least nobody I knew of was doing it at this time. But it was what they call white branding, white something nowadays. But it's basically I had was working. I had this idea that we would have this website, that our website would look different with different domain names. So basically, we had code. I had written some code that would look at the domain name and then apply styles based on the name of the website. And I thought that was a really good idea. And then, like, I can't remember what happened, but we needed money really, really bad. And so I think they had the Royal Bank of Canada in there, and the Royal Bank of Canada apparently did not like the idea that was pitched to them. And so then our sales staff went through to every developer and said, "Do you by any chance have any kind of project or anything that we could show that maybe would get the investment?" We had like 30 employees at the time. And so I showed them this thing. And like I said, this did not exist but before then. But I was saying, see, I have like 10 different example things, and our e-commerce site is branded white branding, um, was branded to these different looks, and they were like, "Oh my God, let's try that." So they found like five or six pet projects that various developers were working on, and they were like, they showed mine, and the Royal Bank of Canada person was just like blown away by the concept that someone could set up our e-commerce site, but it could be totally branded for them. And so we got the loan, we got the money, and it saved everybody's job. And it was just a pet project. It never became anything. It was kind of weird because I was there my title there was HTML producer. And basically, most of the, wait, okay, what is going on here? Oh, oh, this is not material. All right, I'm confused. Mesh, normal, material, update. Okay, this is update the mesh material. But oh, it's a three mesh is what we actually. Interesting. So I guess there's only one kind of mesh. Equal to. Oh wait. Okay, I'm in the wrong. What is going on here? Okay, this is a mesh. Why is this a material? Oh, okay, so a mesh has a material. Okay, that that got me confused. Material, three material dictionary. We already have a three dictionary. What the hell is the name of this thing? This is mesh. We already have a three mesh. Oh, this is so yeah. So anyways, it never really became anything. It was kind of funny because I was very much, I don't know if looked down upon was the right word, but they didn't really consider me a real computer programmer at that job. And so it was funny because they said, like, we literally had my boss, who was the director of front end, and me, and and I was his HTML producer. And then there was a development organization, and they were the developers, but none of them knew HTML very well or any of that kind of stuff. And so they were like, well, we have to actually let the real developers do it. We realized you put something together, it was really good. The only thing they changed was the UI. They didn't change anything in the actual code, which was hilarious. Okay, now I got to stay focused here. Okay, so three mesh dictionary should be a three mesh. Not, and of course, okay. I think it's so easy to get confused. All right, that is what we are requiring here. And now we want to take this. We want to go back to our mesh service. We don't want this to be an any anymore. We want to do that. And it's good that we see the blue one. So we want to do our import. And now we are done. And then we are going to run our unit tests. I should have probably got my unit test running to begin with. Run test. And we're going to run the end-to-end test. PM run Cypress open. And then we're going to look at the code and make sure it's commit ready. All we did was remove a line there, do that. We did that. I am 90% sure that this is not going to be an issue. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to commit this code. I'm just going to believe in myself. I can always revert, reset, get reset head. I could always reset if it doesn't work out, but get log just to see what our last ones are. So that was video 345. Oh, yeah. So that's how I do it at work. But what I generally do here is I just hit the up button until I find one. So video 345. So I'm assuming this is video 346. Boo, bop, bop. Yep. This is going to be video 346. And this, I'm confident this is a super commit, and we know that this is issue 5, and we know that we are strongly typing the mesh service dictionary, and we can hit enter, and we didn't hit add, get add dot, the up button, hit enter. So I'm not pushing it because I'm not 100% sure that this is going to work. So I'm going to come in here and we're just going to go through the end-to-end tests. I find end-to-end testing to be just one of the biggest stress relievers. Like when things are in your end, when you have something end-to-end tested, you do not have to worry about remembering to go check something. It'll show itself in the end-to-end test. Man, that's crazy how long oh, you know what? I think I'm wrong. Oh, it's still building. No, I'm not wrong. I was thinking, oh man, maybe one of the unit tests are breaking. But if one of the unit tests are breaking, then that's actually a problem. Because that means that like I'm adding the wrong kind of object. This first Cypress end-to-end test always takes a bit to get going. So it's showing it at 1000 by 660 and it's zoomed in at 92%. This is Chrome. So I wonder if I make it wider if the zooming changes. Oh yeah. So yeah, the zooming changes if it gets to a certain width, and at this width, it looks like we don't have any 1000 by 660, and we don't have any issues. All right, so this is our unit tests. They are all passing, which is a good sign. They have a ton of logs. I don't know about that, but we do have 100% test coverage. Oh yeah, this is the actual printout of the in the console log that shows the history. We definitely wanted to bounce that so we won't get nearly as many of these in the future. But well, maybe we will though, because all the unit tests are running individual things, so we might end up bouncing may not make much of a difference. But anyway, so that is done. So let's go ahead and go here back to our end-to-end tests. This is looking good. Number 2 is looking good. I'm pretty sure it's done. I'm trying to get better at like as these one of the challenges I've noticed is that sometimes it kind of looks like it's done before it is, which I think is only a challenge if you're doing it kind of what I'm doing here, where you're just clicking through them. But if you're actually telling it just to run them, then it would work. But yeah, and that's our bug that we have. We know that this is a bug, and I definitely need to fix that. I have a couple of throttling slash debouncing um, issues that I got to deal with, which will be very interesting to me. I was like kind of going a deep dive and thinking about like how throttle means something different in computer programming than it does in a lot of the other things. Because I think like throttling that I first dealt with was like in a car, like on a car engine or in a gas lawnmower. But throttling in that scenario just slows things down. But in throttling in computer programming, at least every computer programming environment I've ever seen, it means that you want to sample. Just take a snapshot. You want to snapshot it at a specific interval. And then, all right, so that's all done. So we can kill this. So with Cypress, we can just kill it from the application. Um, with Karma Jasmine, we had to Control C it. So that's a little different. Okay, so now we want to do a push. Really starting to kind of come up with a scheme here. And now I want to click into the branch itself. There's different ways to do this. This is the way that I know to do it. And yeah, then we'll get this saying, hey, this thing was updated. So I want to press this compare button. And then I want to look at, just make sure nothing weird is getting in there. And then I want to create my pull request. I want to assign it to me. That's purely optional. And then I want to merge it because I already looked at the files and they're all exactly what I want. And I want to confirm that merge. So you would not do, like I wouldn't do it that way if I was looking at somebody else's code, or if I was looking at code that I wrote yesterday, for example. I would definitely take a closer look. But since it's like literally all just fresh, so we're going to delete it. And now that is in the main branch. And so let's go to the next issue. Looks like we're getting to some fun one. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. This extra animation for being created is a good one. Let's go ahead and do the oldest one, whatever the oldest one. Okay, so this is a debouncing one. So we're basically what's happening is, and I'll just show you. Let me go ahead and assign it to myself. Let's go ahead and create the branch. And I want to check it out locally. I don't want to try to do it in GitHub desktop. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to do this. I'm going to hit Control V, hit Enter. So now we're in this new branch, and it's called log debounce. The log dictionary should be debounced. So the problem we're trying to fix here is when I come in here, oh, wrong one. So I think we're done with GitHub today. And really, all I'm going to do is sort of explain what we're going to work on tomorrow. So basically, if you look in the console log, we're doing this thing that's been incredibly helpful. If I create a viz, we get like these logs, and this one is the last one, and it has basically all of the descriptions of everything related to this visualization right here, which is incredibly useful. Unfortunately, like this one is not very useful. Now, when I open it up, it actually up here it shows that there was only one, but it actually shows everything. Really, we don't want it like if we put a little time next to each one of these, we would see that like all of these little logs came out like within like a tenth of a second of each other. Like this first one was probably printed out and then like less than all of these got printed out and this one got printed out in less than a tenth of a second. We really just need this last one. So what we want to do is we want to wait till it hasn't been called for X amount of time before we do that. And that is I've never heard any other way of referring to that behavior of saying, hey, go ahead and wait till it's quieted down to uh, I've always heard it called debouncing. So that's just saying, hey, like wait till you haven't had a change for a little bit before you actually print it out. So every time, most of the time, well, so before RxJS, I used to have to write these all the time, and oh, it wasn't that bad. Like what you do is you just kind of hold a little timer, and you print the last time that it was called, or you check you save the last time that thing was called and the last time it was printed. And if the last time it was called, not even the last time it was printed, just the last time it was called, and if the last time it was called was more than a certain amount of time away, then it then you would print it out. It was pretty straightforward, and I probably did it 50, 60, maybe 100 times before RxJS, but RxJS is they have a way of doing it, and generally RxJS comes in most Angular things. At least it did. I don't know. I think it might be they might be trying to get away from that, but the um, so anyways, so the first step I guess would be like to just figure out where this is happening. So it's happening in our recyclable sequence service. And that is in our utilities. So service, utilities, general, recycle. And I think that name makes sense. It gives me a little sense of like, yes, I understand what's going on. The this is an example where the abstraction of putting it into a utilities and then a general um, paid its rent. It justified itself. It made me understand how things work a little bit better, or confirmed my understanding of how things work. So we're starting a brand new one, so it probably makes sense. I wonder what happens if I close all. I don't even know what happens. So I close all, it leaves you wherever you are at. Okay, so let's go ahead and shut this, open app, and then interfaces, services, entities, utilities, and then general. And then I actually completely forgot about the positioning and routing utilities. And then recyclable sequence service, and then log. So it would be very, very simple to build this out, like add a variable and then just wait. I think RxJS is probably the better way to go. Oh, this is interesting. Okay, so and yeah, we have this. So basically, we can even unit test this fairly easy, and this one will require unit testing. I don't think end-to-end testing is very useful in this situation because it is just in the console log. But in the future, it'd probably be very useful to have a like a another view that actually has this printed out, and then the end-to-end testing would be very could be very valuable. But anyways, let me see what ChatGPT's opinion is. This is Angular 21, I believe. Let's see. I literally started before Angular, like when this stuff was still in beta, so I've been working on Angular since the beginning. Um, let's see. Yeah, Angular 21. I am working in a an Angular 21. And is it really an Angular 21 application, or is it an Angular um, 20 or like 19? I don't even remember what like. So here's where we updated to 21. Here's where we updated to 20. So yeah, I'm guessing we started at Angular 19. Um, Upgraded from 19, 20 to 21. Because I think an Angular 21 application is different if it's been gone through an upgrade path than if it was fresh, isn't it? There is like subtle differences. The main obvious difference is that if this was an Angular 21 application, it would be a Vite um, unit test instead of Angular Carmen Jasmine. But there are probably other things too, not just that. Um, and I would like to debounce a call. Um, so I think I have two choices. I think that I have two choices. One would be um, to implement my own. And then I guess in that there's two choices. Like I could have a service, like a debounce service that, kind of keeps track of different things. I own or to use RxJS. Now, know that RxJS has been historically wired into Angular. So it was the preferred way to do it. So using RxJS was the preferred way to accomplish debouncing. Let's see. But it seems like Angular is not as strictly bound. I wouldn't say moved away. Moved away would be like kind of overstating it, but it isn't as like to use RxJS. RxJS is like the only right answer. So bound to RxJS as it used to be. So which should I do now? Should do now. 2025. In December 2025. This is, gosh, so important that you still use arches if when the thing is already unobservable. Oh, or an event stream. use a small native debounce if it's just a local imperative call. Yeah, so it's still the right to play. Okay, so okay. Okay, so it is just a function. Oh my gosh. Okay, so it is just a native. Just a native call, a native method, JS/TS method. You know, maybe I should create utility service that manage So the thing about debouncing is that it has to happen like later. So it's so much time after the last one that manages debouncing. Since it's just a native, and I also think that I'll need another debounce, but I think the other thing is already a signal. I mean, is already a RxJS. Because the other thing that's going to be coming soon is the resizing. And actually, I think I already, maybe, yeah, I don't even know how, I can't even remember how it is, but it's resizing the, it's resizing the view when you're in this mode, right? Like it's our failed, the end to end that is failed. So like this works fine, but it actually looks like it's okay, but actually it is off. Is it off? Yeah, so the aspect ratio should be 1.1, but it's actually 1.14. And you can't really see it because um it's pretty damn close to square, but you can really see it in the end testing. Um so that's going to be happening, but I think that's already like a an observable. So we probably won't end up using this one. All right. Okay. Okay, so basically, so here's a little service, and basically what happens is you give it a key, a callback, and how long. And I would probably want to, oh, okay, and they give it, it's a variable, but they default it to 300 milliseconds. I probably only want it to be like 10 milliseconds or maybe 30 milliseconds. I think all these things are happening really, really fast. I think it's 10 milliseconds is probably how long I want to debounce it for. And then yeah, this function, and I think it would want to be um, this search value, search. So we're debouncing this, and then basically this thing would have a key, and its key would be like log, um, or something like that, and then it would say, hey, when was the last time log is called? And then I think the timer would set off, and then like, oh, so it has this ability to cancel. So let me just sort of think through this. Okay, so we have a timer. It says set timeout callback timers. It calls the callback. Clear timeout. Okay, so does this skip it? I don't see where this skips it. So what should happen is it should check in the last time and not do it if if it's been called within a certain amount of time. Mm. Okay, so I'm gonna call it, right? I'm gonna call it here, debounce service debounce, and then I'm going to so I'm going to call this, and then it's going to have a delay of 300, and then it's going to call it in 300. But I think one thing it should not do is it shouldn't then print out a whole bunch. At, it sh so it kind of okay. Wait, alternative function based debounce or clear out timer set time. Okay, so I don't like that at all. Okay, so um, I like the first one best, but does it skip printouts? Skip the function calls or just delay? Clarify for you, lock it in. Short piece answer. It skips intermediate. Okay, it only calls the last one. Okay, so okay, see. Oh, if existing, clear timeout. Set key and typer. So if I call that at 0, it's saying that like A, B, C, no more calls. Schedule a timer, cancel. Okay, so it does cancel it. Where does it go? Oh, okay. So it looks like it adds it to this list, to this map. And if it finds it in the map, it skips it. But if it doesn't find it in the map, then it calls it. I don't, no more calls. And then, and A and B never get called. Only C gets called. I don't quite have it. It's not a throttle. Runs at most once per interval. Delay queue. Every call eventually runs a schedule. Okay. Okay, so yeah, I like this. It skips the intermediate calls. It only calls the last call executed, and then okay, so cool, cool, cool. Yeah, yeah. To skip the last call. Want to put this service in a folder structure like this, and it's going to be services slash. I'm curious if it's got a criticism of this. Utilities slash. Should it be under general or like timing? I think it's like timing. Timing slash debounce. I think debounce dot service. .ts. Call it debounce with correct. Okay, so execution after the delay expires. Okay, yeah. So it looks like that is okay. So yeah, it looks like this is exactly what we want to do, and I'll do that tomorrow. So we thought through it, and I think that's one of the most important pieces. And then basically we're going to call our function, our draw function, and it should only print it out after all this is done. And then we have a service that is, I think, properly abstracted. Eh, it's properly kind of isolated away from the rest of the code, um, and it's isolated in a way that I think leads to understanding the code base a little bit better if you contemplate it a little bit and all that. And I think that's a really good thing, and it's going to be very easy to write unit tests for, to test, and there's really no end-to-end testing um, component for this since it's all behind the scenes. It will be, I think, I don't know. I hope. I kind of hope. I don't know for sure though that this because we probably actually want to run whatever the function is that calculates the aspect. We probably want to leave the throttle as is. Just leave it the way it's throttling right now. So basically, it's like as you resize, it changes the aspect ratio. That's why it's kind of going through these different views. So we probably want to leave that exactly it is as is, but there's probably a function that calculates the aspect ratio. And we probably want to debounce that. So we're going to want both. And I believe the throttling is already RxJS, but I'm not sure. Um, when the debouncing won't be RxJS. And I think that's okay. I'm not 100% sure of that. I definitely want to contemplate that some more as we get closer to that, working on that issue. Anyways, happy coding, everybody. Bye.